everyone.
Hi, Bob.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us for Kirtan and Bhagavad Gita class. We'll just chant for 30 minutes before the class. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramam Siddhi Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramam Siddhi Namine Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramam Sanamine Parakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Pristayate Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramam Sanamine Parakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Pristayate Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-bhakta-vrinda
Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol
Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol
Nitai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo,
Haribo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Go, Haribo,
Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Nityananda, Hari Bo, Gauranga, Hari Bo, Nityananda, Hari Bo, Gauranga. Gauranga, Hari Bo, Nityananda, Hari Bo, Gauranga, Hari Bo, Nityananda, Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Go, Nitai Go, Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Jaya Guru Jai Jai Gauranga Jai Jai Guru Jai Jaya Gauranga Jai Jaya Guru Jai Jaya Gauranga
Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parvadikasitar Sarashishima Guru Siddhaswarupananda Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parvadikasitar Sarashishima His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parvadikasitar Sarashishima His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Gauda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhattacharya Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Itai Goswald Mission Ki Jai. Navadvita Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Ki Jai. Mathuradam Ki Jai. Mayapodam Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Namaste. So I'll just recite the Mangala Charana prayers, or the auspicious invocation. These prayers are found at the beginning of the introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is. Amagina Timarandasya Gina Gina Salakaya Chaksurun Militanyena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Statpitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanan Pavenbhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhattacharya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Niti Namine. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Namine. Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Pristayate. So before speaking, first I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Jagaguru Siddhaswarupananda Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is the mercy manifestation of Lord Chaitanya, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, and very dear to Radha and Krishna, Radha Krishna Prastayate. And namaste, offer my respects to all of you. The devotees of the Lord are like wish-fulfilling trees, able to fulfill all the desires of the living entities, and have great compassion for the fallen souls. Krishna. So, when Lord Chaitanya toured South India after leaving Navadvip and taking sannyas, and then residing in Jagannath Puri, and then going on his tour of South India, he went to Sri Rangam, which is this major city in South India, with big, huge deity of Ranganath, and who's Mahavishnu and Lakshmi, and a massive temple. It's a little bit like, and many Indian cities are like this. They revolve completely around the worship of the deities. Like the temple is the center of the city, and everything sort of revolves around the worship of the deity. And Sri Rangam was like this. So Lord Chaitanya, when he visited there, he visited Lord Ranganath in the temple. And outside the temple there was a Brahmin, a poor Brahmin, reading Bhagavad Gita. And he couldn't pronounce the Sanskrit properly, like many of us, as we struggle to say the Sanskrit. And so he was not very scholarly. He was literate, he could read, but couldn't read very well, and couldn't really delve into the deeper aspects of Bhagavad Gita. And so many of the other Brahmins and people were laughing at him as he would mispronounce the Sanskrit. And Lord Chaitanya spoke to the simple Brahmin, and the Brahmin expressed how much he loved Bhagavad Gita. And what he explained to Lord Chaitanya was that as he read Bhagavad Gita, he could visualize Krishna as Partha Sarathi. So Partha is referring to Arjuna, and Sarathi is the chariot driver. So Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna. And so this, this is amazing, that Krishna takes on the role of serving his devotee. And here he's serving Arjuna as his chariot driver. And so this simple Brahmana was just thinking of Krishna as Parthasarathi, as the driver of Arjuna's chariot, and was just overwhelmed with love for Krishna and in that mood. And Lord Chaitanya said to him, you truly understand Bhagavad Gita. So we can take some inspiration from this. Generally speaking, we're not very scholarly, and even we may study Bhagavad Gita regularly, we still may not understand many aspects of it. And so we can take shelter in this mood of just appreciating Krishna as Parthasarathi, guiding his friend Arjuna, driving his chariot for him, speaking to him out of love. The Bhagavad Gita, it's like Krishna describes how I'm speaking this to you because you are my very dear friend and my devotee. And so we're talking about in Friday night's class that, Krishna describes that Ishta asimi dridamiti, says to Arjuna, you are very dear to me. Ishta, you are my beloved. Priya, dear, you are very dear to me. And I'm speaking, te hitam, I'm speaking to you for your benefit. So for Arjuna's permanent benefit. So anyway, as we approach Bhagavad Gita, we should approach in this mood of this humble Brahman, just appreciating Krishna and his love for Arjuna, and appreciating this wonderful conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So we've been studying the first 10 verses of chapter 2, and we've had quite a few classes on that. We started them in Skype, and then we've moved on to Facebook Live. And actually I got a new iPhone, iPhone 11, so hopefully the video quality is better. My old phone was a iPhone 6, so the quality not so good. So hopefully the quality is good. So in what I was going to speak on tonight was an overview of chapter 2. In other words, discuss the different sections of chapter 2, and then we will start an overview of chapter 2, texts 11 to 30, which is like the very first instructions that Krishna gives to Arjuna. So there's 5 main sections of this chapter 2. So section 1 is verses 2.1 to 2.10 that we've been studying at length over the last, might be, anyway, it's at least a month, maybe heading on towards 2. But this section is really, in some ways, it's like a continuation of chapter 1. It's Arjuna expressing his further doubts and his reasons for why he doesn't want to fight, how he doesn't want to fight. Ultimately, he says, "I'm not going to fight," and Arjuna's surrender to Krishna in the mood of a disciple, where he's soul surrendered and please instruct me, where he's asking Krishna, please tell me definitely, Nishitam, give me the ultimate conclusion that what is best for me, what is Shreyas, or most auspicious. I'm confused about my duty. Please tell me what is best for me, how I should act. And so then this now allows Krishna to begin his instructions to Arjuna. Up to this point, Krishna has not spoken very much, other than one point he said to Arjuna, see the Kurus assembled here. That's basically all Krishna says in chapter 1. And in chapter 2, in texts 2 and 3, Krishna chastises Arjuna, for his, questions. How is this degrading lamentation come upon you? This lamentation and this impotence, it's not suitable for an Aryan. You're behaving as an Arya, almost like a man-woman, So Krishna is kind of quite hard on Arjuna, kind of like waking Arjuna up to his real situation. Like, what are you doing, Arjuna? What's going on here? So Krishna wakes him up, and at this, then Arjuna laments some more about his terrible situation and how he finds himself. Here he is, and he turns to Krishna, surrendering to him as his spiritual instructor. And then text 10 is like the transition verse from Arjuna speaking and then accepting Krishna as his spiritual master. And then Sanjaya then says that Hrishikesha, Krishna, is now going to speak to the Gurukesha, Arjuna, the conqueror's sleep. And that Krishna had a slight smile. And as we discussed last week, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it's like, well, Krishna was actually going to laugh, but now that Arjuna is his disciple, he had to, control his laughter, and so, had to like control his mouth, so he didn't laugh. And so just as the simple Brahmana in Sri Rangam is meditating upon Krishna as Parthasarathi, we can perhaps meditate upon Krishna, wanting to laugh at Arjuna, but actually having to control himself so that just a smile came before he began instructing his dear friend. So the next verses, the next section of chapter 2 is the text in 2:11 to 2:30. So it's like 20 verses. And this is about jnana or sankhya. Sankhya means the analysis of this material world, and essentially it comes down to understanding the separation or the distinction between matter and spirit. And so in these verses 11 to 30, Krishna is in many different ways emphasizing that you're not the body, that we are not the body, that Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya are not their bodies, and that the body dies, but they do not die, we do not die, that we're eternally individual, and so on. Many different wonderful points that are very much like the spiritual ABCs, like the building blocks of spiritual understanding, or jnana. And throughout chapter 2, several times, Krishna speaks, and then he tells Arjuna, therefore, fight. You should fight. So Arjuna, of course, is not wanting to fight. He's declining to fight. He wants to go and be a beggar. And so here, in many ways, Krishna is rebutting or refuting Arjuna's earlier arguments and reasons for not fighting. And Krishna tells him to fight. You must fight. So essentially, in summary, in this section, is Krishna is essentially saying there is no death for the soul, and the body can never be saved. The body always dies, but the soul doesn't die when the body dies. So in the next section of chapter 2, so the third section, series of verses 231 to 238, and this is like Karma Kanda. So the Karma Kanda section of the Vedic literatures is the primary Vedas, and this is by engaging in in karma or action, and getting the results of it. So it's like Krishna is presenting different arguments first to Arjuna, taking it from the point of view of jnana or sankhya, understanding that you're not the body, and then in this series of verses, then Krishna basically talks about, okay, so there's that platform of knowledge, and then a very sort of practical way. Right now, Arjuna's been talking about how, he doesn't even care for a kingdom in heaven. Doesn't care to have a kingdom on this earth or to be even the king of heaven. But Krishna then tells him, begins speaking about the importance of following one's prescribed duties, one's dharma or swadharma. Dharma in general is duty, or duty or responsibilities. And so everyone has their own particular swadharma, swa meaning self, so our own particular dharma according to our own situation. Everybody's dharma is a little bit different, generally speaking, although of course there's broad categories of dharma. And these are generally linked to the varnashrama system. You know, the various varnas, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, sudra. Each of these varnas has their own duties or responsibilities, and also then the ashramas, or the brahmachari, the celibate student, the grihastha, the householder, the vanaprastha, the retired person, and then for a much smaller class of society, the sannyas or renunciation. So according to one's vana and one's ashram, one has different dharma, and so that is one's swadharma. So anyway, so in this section of verses, Krishna is telling Arjuna that by performing his prescribed duties, then he will gain material enjoyment. So material gains, heaven or a kingdom from fighting, or if he doesn't perform his duty, if he doesn't perform his prescribed duties, then he'll experience infamy and sin from not fighting. So actually to not fulfill one's prescribed duties is sinful. So performing our prescribed duties is actually purifying for the soul. So this is essentially the kind of basic level of karma yoga, just following one's duties in life. And even though they're unpleasant sometimes, we have to do them anyway. And this helps engender some detachment. In other words, we do things out of duty, and so even though we may not like to do it, we do it. So this is beginning of detachment, and it's purifying. And then as we also begin to consider, well, we're doing this is God's arrangement, Krishna's arrangement for society, and I play my part in society. So it's not like, a devotee is feeling, an actual devotee is feeling, I'm doing this out of love for my spiritual master and Krishna. So generally speaking, many people may not be at that stage, but they're doing things out of a sense of duty and obligation, and understanding this is the way that society is organized, and Krishna has organized it this way, or God, the Supreme Person, has organized it this way, and so I fulfill my role and my duty. And this is purifying and helps gradually elevate a person. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami would often talk about the importance of establishing Varnashram system. It's God's arrangement or Krishna's arrangement for society, and this is beneficial for society. So anyway, so in this section then, it's like Krishna refutes many of Arjuna's previous arguments from chapter 1, but still, again, the same message is fight. Do your duty. So you should do your duty, so you should fight. Then in the fourth section, which is texts 39 to 53, Krishna here is really talking about Buddhi Yoga. He has to talk about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi meaning intelligence, so intelligence yoga. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami just translates Buddhi Yoga as devotional service. So this is fighting. Krishna is urging Arjuna to fight, but to fight without any reaction. So and this is known as nishkama, karma yoga. So karma yoga, the yoga of action. Nishkama means without having any of the results of the action. So one works karma, one works karma with knowledge or jnana. And so we're detached. By being detached from the results, detached from the fruit of his work. So this is so Buddhi Yoga means having understanding of the real situation and working with detachment. So in the previous section, Karma Kanda, it's like, well, doing my duties, fulfilling my roles in the Varnashram system, but actually I'm still wanting fruit from it. So the fruit in that section is like, well, I'll get a kingdom on this earth, or a kingdom in heaven, and if I don't fulfill my duty, then I'll suffer adverse material consequences. But in Buddhi Yoga, one works completely in a detached way, with no attachment to the fruit. We just fulfill our duty in a very detached way. And in the final section, section 5 from text 54 to 72, this is like sthita prajna. So at the end of the previous section, Krishna began to describe a person who's sthita prajna, who is in samadhi. Sthita prajna means fixed in knowledge, and Krishna described him as being in samadhi. And Arjuna was very interested in this. He began to ask Krishna, well, tell me what such a sthita prajna does. How does he act? How does he sit? How does he walk? What does he do? So Krishna then describes how this person is. So sthita prajna is a person fixed in God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. And actually, for the first time in chapter 2 at text 61, then Krishna tells Arjuna to just matparaha, just be focused on me. It's the first time that in all the previous verses, Krishna hasn't told Arjuna at all to focus upon him, to try and please Krishna. So in this section, in this particular verse 61, it's the first time where Krishna begins to tell Arjuna that actually just love me, focus on me. And this is the ultimate message and the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So it's first introduced here in text 61. So Krishna describes the different characteristics of the sthita prajna and describes how one can attain ultimate peace and happiness through acting in this way on the basis of Buddhi Yoga. So this kind of the overview of chapter 2, broken up into these 5 sections. And so the first section, or the second section, is text 11 to 30, which is basically, the basis of knowledge, jnana or sankhya, and that Arjuna should fight, because there is no death for the soul, and the body can never be saved. So this is, Arjuna's first argument for Krishna. Like, he gave 5 reasons ultimately why he didn't want to fight. And the first reason was just basically compassion. This is in the text 28 to 30 of the chapter 1, when Arjuna first looked and saw all the relatives on the battlefield, and he became overwhelmed. His limbs began quivering, his mouth dried up, his body started shaking, his skin started burning, and he's just, it's not because he's scared for himself that, many of us are like, if we get in a situation like that, we start getting scared for myself. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? But Arjuna is overcome with compassion for others, that he's going to cause suffering and death towards others. So he becomes experiences all these symptoms of compassion and lamentation, and he's feeling he doesn't want to bite, kill these people. So this section, text 11 to 30, is very much about refuting Arjuna's misconception. In other words, Arjuna is lamenting and feeling overcome at the thought of having to kill others, to kill their bodies, and the pain and suffering that's going to cause. So Krishna refutes the basis of this. In other words, it's like it's bodily consciousness, thinking that the person is the body and that I'm going to kill that body, and that's going to be such a bad thing. So Krishna refutes that in this section. So like some kind of main sort of points out of it is that the spirit soul is eternal and indestructible, and material nature is temporary. Because of this, one should not be bewildered by the inevitable destruction of the material body. Rather, one should remain fixed in prescribed duties, which purify us and allow one to realize the eternal self. So just an overview on these verses. You know, Arjuna is in illusion, but he's not in illusion in the way we are. We are covered over by Mahamaya, Krishna's external energy. Mahamaya, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to analyze it, has a throwing potency where we are thrown into the material world and material consciousness, and then a covering potency where our knowledge and our actual identity becomes covered over as we become covered by ignorance and false ego. So, but Arjuna is under Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya. So in other words, Krishna's pastime potency. This is Krishna's pastime. Arjuna is Krishna's eternal associate. He loves Krishna always. So Arjuna is never under the influence of Mahamaya as we are. Rather, he's under Krishna's internal potency. Just as the Mother Yasoda, for example, she thinks Krishna is just her little baby. And so when Krishna eats dirt and Balaram tells on him, oh, he ate dirt, and she says, show me, let me look in your mouth. And she looks into his mouth and sees Krishna's universal form and the whole universe, and then even sees herself with Krishna on her lap within Krishna's mouth. She just like spins out and can't handle it. So this destroys the loving mood or the relationship between Krishna and his mother. Like, what fun is it having a mother who thinks you're God? Right? She certainly wouldn't chase him with a stick when he feeds or knocks over the milk off the stove. Right? So this is Krishna's pastime potency, his Yogamaya potency, that makes it so that his devotees don't actually see him as God. They just see him as their little wonderful boy, Krishna. So similarly, Arjuna is under this influence, where he's not seeing Krishna as God, the Supreme Personality. He's seeing Krishna as his friend, as his brother-in-law, as his cousin. So he's feeling this familial relationship, this friendly relationship with Krishna. And as part of his relationship and part of Krishna's pastimes and part of Krishna's purpose to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants, as Krishna describes in chapter 4, and to re-establish the Dharma, or the principles of religion. Krishna has advented himself, and Arjuna is one of Krishna's eternal associates, plays his role in Krishna's pastimes, and he's under the influence of Krishna's pastime energy. So Yogamaya. So we should not think that Arjuna is in the same kind of ignorance or illusion that we are in. So this section, Krishna very much gives the spiritual ABCs, like the very basic foundation, the very first sort of building block of spiritual life is to understand that we're not the body, that I'm spiritual in essence. So this is the science of identity. And actually one of Srila Prabhupada's contributions to the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy is this conception of the science of identity, the way that Srila Prabhupada has taught it. It's quite unique. Of course, it's within Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and in the teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and all the acharyas, of course. But Srila Prabhupada has presented it in a very systematic way that's easy for people to understand, that my essence is that I'm spiritual in essence. I'm not this gross physical body. I'm not the subtle material body. Rather, I'm the Atma, or the spirit soul, eternal spark of consciousness. So this is like understanding our essence as spirit. And then Srila Prabhupada further explains what is our position. Okay, well, I'm spiritual, but what is my position? Am I the Supreme Spirit? And of course, Prabhupada explains it, no, you're the dominated part and parcel of the Supreme. We're like a spark coming from a fire. So, and then third, of course, that we are eternally individual. It's not that, we're spiritual in essence and then we merge into the total Brahman and lose our individual identity. No, we're eternal spirit soul. Never was there a time when I did not exist. Nor will we ever cease to exist in the future. So there's this, I'm spiritual in essence, I'm not the Supreme Spirit, I'm the dominated part and parcel, I'm eternally an individual. And then what is my function? My function is to serve the Supreme Spirit and to love the Supreme Spirit. So this is very much the basic building blocks and understanding of spiritual life. And this is largely what these texts in 11 to 30 establish really clearly. So this series of verses, they're very much Upanishadic, which means in fact even some of the verses are straight out of the Upanishads. And this is a particular way of speaking and philosophical kind of points that are made, like the Upanishads are the Jnana-kanda section of the Vedic literatures, so very sort of knowledge, philosophy. And as I mentioned previously, Krishna referred to this as Sankhya, or the analysis of the body and the soul. So I'm just going to read this series of verses, and these are such wonderful verses, and they're nice to read at occasions like funerals, or at hard times, as people are experiencing a lamenting for the loss of a loved one. And they're wonderful for overcoming such lamentation, appreciating the real situation. So starting at text 11. So Sri Bhagavan Nuvacha, so Sri Krishna, Bhagavan, the possessor of all opulences, spoke. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kuntī, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body, the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity, is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain, is in knowledge, for the self slays not, nor is slain. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. O Patha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul, or the sentence of life, is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any living being. Krishna. So these verses are just, wonderful. So in these verses, so it's just some of the, like in a series of 20 verses, Krishna just spells it all out so clearly. So some of the key points: the embodied soul is eternal, does not die, so therefore there's nothing to lament for. Krishna says, me, you, and others are eternally individuals. We exist in the past, we exist now, and we exist in the future. And just as we pass in this life from different bodies, it's like that at death. We just pass to a new body. And we shouldn't be disturbed by passing happiness and distress that arises just from sense perception. And a person who knows this is eligible for liberation, as this helps one become detached from this world. So we should develop tolerance. We should tolerate pleasant things and unpleasant things. And Krishna proceeds to give further explanation on the soul, how he is eternal, ever existing, undying, never born, does not die, is immutable, that we give up bodies like we give up garments, that he who dwells in the body can never be slain. There's no need to grieve for any living being. Thus perform the duty of fighting. Performing one's prescribed duty is purifying. So I guess I'll leave it there for tonight. The next thing I wanted to speak about was the different how these different points that Krishna is making kind of build upon another. And in the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Baladev Bhushan, Srila Baladev Vijayabhusana, in their commentaries, they give what Arjuna's thoughts or objections might be. Like Krishna says something, and then Arjuna kind of has an objection. Krishna then overcomes that objection with the next verse, and this is, very, very nice, and helps perhaps deepen our understanding of the flow of these verses. So in next week's class, we'll go through that, and then we'll go through each of these verses in detail and consider Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's and the different acharyas' commentaries on these verses. And so hopefully through doing so we can deepen our understanding and appreciation of these wonderful teachings of Krishna. And there's a couple of other discussions that at some point I'd like to go over in connection with lamentation. So there's a number of wonderful scripture sections and when lamentation is being dealt with. And just trying to remember what they are, but one of them is very interesting. It's actually Hiranyakashipu speaking to the widows and sons of Hiranyaksha after Varaha has killed him. And Hiranyakashipu, even though he's such a demon, has a Vedic understanding, and he actually speaks very nicely and conveying how we're not the body and one should not lament. And then he tells a story about how Yamaraj appeared as a child before the widows of a king, and this young child gives a wonderful explanation. This is in the 7th canto, in the beginning chapters. The other one is actually in Canto 6, Chitraratha, when his son was poisoned by these envious co-wives of the child's mother. And then Narada Muni and I forget who came with him, came and spoke to Maharaj Chitraketu, spoke to Maharaj Chitraketu and his wife, and they called back the dead son, and he gave a very wonderful explanation about about not being the body, and so on, and no cause for lamentation. And a third story is there was a Sankirtan going on in Navadvip at Srivasa's house when Lord Chaitanya was there, and the dancing and chanting was just ecstatic and wonderful. And actually one of Srivasa's sons died, one of his children died, and Srivasa didn't want to disturb Lord Chaitanya, so they didn't say anything. And but eventually Lord Chaitanya picked up on the fact that something was wrong, and so he stopped the kirtan and then asked what was wrong. And then when he found out one of Srivasa's sons had died, then actually he called back Srivasa's son back into the body, and he spoke again about, generally speaking, that his, which father and mother. The soul has had so many fathers and mothers. And so one time you're the mother, next time you're the child, so on, all these different wonderful points. So as we consider these verses of Krishna speaking to Arjuna to overcome his lamentation, we can also study some of these wonderful dialogues. And so when we find ourselves in situations of great lamentation, we can take shelter in these different stories and pastimes from the Vedic literatures. So anyway, so thank you very much for listening. We'll have some more kirtan. And if you're interested, I'm giving Bhagavad Gita classes on Friday nights in Healing Chant 108, and there we're still discussing the essence and conclusion of Bhagavad Gita in the final verses in 1863 to 66. So, anyway, thank you very much. Haribol, Krishna. So Radhisham will just come back.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, Chaitanya Nityananda, Hare Chaitanya Nityananda, Hare Chaitanya Nityananda, Hare Chaitanya Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagadish Hare, Jagadish Hare.
Krishna. Namaste everyone.
Haribol.